How do we scale this business, double in size every year without having to add that many employees? Agentforce has really helped us with that.
Today, I'm speaking with Jeff Bars, Chief Commercial Officer at Urban Rest. Previously, he's held leadership roles at Quest Apartment Hotels, GLH Hotels, and IHG, bringing deep expertise in marketing, digital transformation, and customer experience. Welcome, Jeff.
Thanks for having me.
Now, the AI agent era is here. Is this an exciting or a tricky time to be leading?
Oh, it's super exciting. At Urban Rest, we run hotels without the physical reception desk on site, and therefore we naturally have a digitally led guest experience. So AI is perfect for us. We are already at the forefront of the digital transformation, and we've just accepted that and are leading with AI.
So tell us a little bit about how you're bringing in AI and Agentforce into your organization.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've started with the service element. So we really believe that lots of guests are already at the forefront of AI, and they want to be able to self-serve. While sometimes it's amazing to speak to a human, for lots of components like asking how the oven works or getting an early check-in,
I've been there before.
or all of those things, it is much easier to just deal with computer technology or with AI in this case. And so we've led with that. We created a product called Urban Assist. It really helps our guests to self-serve for those questions where they're just not comfortable or not wanting to pick up the phone to our agents. We still have human agents there. They pick up the more tricky questions or the more human interaction questions. But we use Agentforce to power Urban Assist and doing that really well so far.
Now, help set the scale here. I've got some incredible metrics around, I think, 775% property growth, 1,400% revenue growth. Is the business been growing that rapidly?
We've been doubling in size every year, if not faster. And so doing that globally here in Australia, New Zealand, in the UK, and in Ireland, we've really had to make sure that our back office, that global back office that does all that things that normally the reception desk in a hotel would do, that scales with our business. And therefore, technology and particularly Salesforce has been really important to us.
So tell me, how did you convince the CEO, your board, to bring in this technology? I don't know, are they digital first? Were they a bit more risk averse? Tell me a little bit about how you did that.
Oh, I always say I never get the challenge on bringing technology isn't on me. It's the reverse.
Oh, it's coming down to you.
I get it from both sides, from both our board and our CEO as well as our employees.
Okay.
To ask for this technology. We know that our employees are already using tools like ChatGPT. So how can I manage that? And how can I ensure that they use the right technology
with trust?
Trust. And the same for our board. They're asking us, how do we scale this business, double in size every year without having to add that many employees? And so Agentforce has really helped us with that. Never have I had to sell it to them. It's the reverse. How do I manage it appropriately? How do we make sure that it really works for us and it's set up in a way that it helps us scale in the future?
And I guess with results like I'm seeing 30% of inquiries are automatically handled by Agentforce. It probably sells itself, I imagine. But are there any other metrics that you're tracking or that have been impressive to you as you've rolled out this technology?
Adoption and guest satisfaction are probably the most important ones for us. Our product only works if our guests are walking out and wanting to stay with Urban Rest again on their next business trip. And so guest satisfaction has been incredibly important. And what we've watched is if we see a drop in guest satisfaction after guests are interacting with Urban Assist or Agentforce, and we haven't seen that at all. If anything, they have been very happy with the interaction and have been serviced quicker than they would have with one of our team members.
That's incredible. Now, obviously, that's an external customer-facing example. Have you been looking at how you might use Agentforce or AI internally as well? You mentioned you've got very digital savvy employees as well.
Yeah, that is next. Okay. That is our next part of the evolution and of the journey that we're on. It is looking at all of our interactions that our team members have and how can we use Agentforce as part of that. I just gave the example of not knowing how the oven works. If a guest calls one of our human agents and ask them how the oven works, they can read the manual, or they could just ask a bot how it works and get a summary version that they can then share with the guest. Those are some of the examples where we really see this work. We are field service user, so very similar with field service when people are out on the road.
The technicians
are cleaners are out on the road. using Agentforce to, in a more conversational way, close those cases, fix those cases, open new cases if they have to.
I love that because we talk about how humans and agents working together, and you're really augmenting whether it's the sales rep or the customer service rep or the technician. Incredible. Now, you're obviously at the forefront of your industry, right? You've redefined it, basically how it's operating. What else do you see changing, and how is technology going to play in with all of that?
Oh, I think technology will change a lot. The hotel industry has naturally been quite behind in technology. As guests will force us to adopt a lot more things like AI, as the expectations of our guests will continue to go up and up and up. We as hoteliers have to reply to that and have to enhance that for them. I think technology will be the core player of that. I personally don't see the need for a reception desk in a hotel. Probably comes with my job, but we think that lots of those things can be handled by our global back office and by technology. And lots of guests want to self-service, right? I don't think there's many people who love standing in a queue to check in after they've had a busy day at work. And so lots of change will happen within that, and we'll see how the industry will respond to that, and if they follow some of the things that we are doing, or if they will lead in different ways.
So maybe just help for the audience understand. So you've launched Urban Assist, which is powered by Agentforce. How does that customer, the first time, do they need any training? Are they just getting going with it? Like, how easy is it for the customer to interact with this technology?
Yeah, it's pretty easy, to be honest. We've got some verifications in place. We want to make sure that we're talking to the right guest. It guides the user to what it can do or what it can't do. If it can't do what it's asking, it's handing it over to a human. We're seeing it being used by guests from all types of backgrounds, all ages, and very positive response across the board.
Now, tell me, what kind of team is implementing this? Is this like a hardcore data science team, or is this more of a team that is able to deploy technology that is simple to use?
We're a scale up. We're small. We're growing. We're trying to innovate the sector. So I definitely don't have a technology team of 10 or 20. It is a team of technologists, people who understand what we do really well and translate that into technology. That combined with a Salesforce partner that understands the Agentforce product. We've also decided that it doesn't have to be perfect from day dot.
Right.
People accept that it can do certain things and it can't do certain things yet. And as long as you've got the right parameters in place, that it can hand over to a human if it needs to, and it doesn't know what it needs to do, then that's absolutely fine. So we've actually taken the approach of start quite slowly, let it do a certain amount of things, and then building on top of that as we see the usage grow. We know what our guests are asking for at the moment, so it's just building on top of that, and almost just different versions being launched every week or every second week.
Crawl, walk, run.
100%.
Almost.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit like the time-wise then, from when you had the idea to launching to this first version that you had. How are we talking? Months, years? What are we talking here?
No, so we've been playing with AI for the longest time with different products. AI has been able to read knowledge articles or articles around how certain things work for the longest time. In our book, that's only really helpful if we take the example of the oven. How the oven works, or instruction manuals how the oven works, are only helpful if that is for the oven in the apartment that you're staying in.
Right, you don't want to get a recommendation
otherwise
for a
it's
different
used.
oven.
Absolutely. And that's been always the problem, ensuring that the AI knows so much about you as a user, where you're staying, what oven is in your apartment, in order to use that. And so when Agentforce came around, that we really saw that as an opportunity to fix that issue for us. So that has been a matter of months. We've been working on the data layer much longer, because it is important that all of that information is in one place for us to do that. But the rollout of Agentforce has been a matter of months.
Now, tell us a little bit about some of the concerns. Obviously, you want that to be trusted. Where you're storing your data, you might be sharing some confidential data around the person themselves, right? So how did you think, was that part of the decision-making process in choosing Agentforce?
Trust is incredibly important. You're dealing with personal information. And also you're dealing with people being able to make changes to bookings, right? And finding out where guests are located, where they're staying. And so we're very cautious with that, and it played a really important factor in our decision for rolling out Agentforce. Those guardrails are super important to us, to go use this data, but don't use that data. Allow these changes, but don't allow those changes. That is incredibly important. and which is why we landed on Agentforce. But it's also why I think it's so important that we provide an enterprise level solution for our employees, and we move them away from ChatGPT or the other product.
Yes, yeah. Because look, at first glance, it may seem like a consumer grade technology feels similar, but you're right. Based on trusted data, ensuring the controls are there, which I guess leads me to the results that you've achieved, which are incredible. I'm seeing, I think, a 50% increase in operations teams' productivity, 40% reduction in field service visits. Like, your team and your management must be super happy with these results. Like, is this the starting point, or are you trying to get that further up and to the right?
We are getting so many requests from our team members, right at the front, of asking for new things it can do and it should be doing. And so I think this is just the beginning. This industry is so ready to be reshaped and to be redefined that I think there are great opportunities for us in operations, but also in other areas. If you think about revenue management, we work with yielded rates like airlines and other hotels. And so there's so much opportunity for us to reshape that in different ways.
Exciting times ahead for sure. Now, if we look ahead, right? Like, where do you see this going? Obviously, you see a lot of opportunity. You've learned some lessons so far. Where are you going next?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot more to do in service. There's a lot more to do in operations. And there's a lot more to do in making our guest experience better for our guests. But I think our real next step is in the data science part. So how can we allow some of our pricing teams, how can we allow some of our sales teams, our reservations team, and give them real-time data and real-time feedback on if they should close that reservation, if they should make that reservation, if they should change that price point. I think that's really where we're going to go in the next 12 months. While also still optimizing that service and operational field.
So you mentioned a lot of use cases there, and something that I've been thinking about is, how do you know which is the right next case?
Yeah.
Do you have any advice? There might be people that haven't started, or maybe they have one use case. How do you prioritize where you go next? Is it who's the most excited? Is it where the ROI is? How are you thinking about that?
A bit of both, I think. You definitely need stakeholders that are excited. Otherwise, that small use case that you're finding, you're not going to get.
Yeah.
So that's incredibly important, but also go where the clear ROI is, because there's so many things that your team members will be doing that are low value tasks that nobody wants to do. They don't want to do. You don't want them to do that. So take that first. Let them learn how that helps them, showcase the business case, and then go from there.
Well, I'm excited that Salesforce and Agentforce can be part of that. Thank you so much, Jeff. Really appreciate you sharing your story and also for being an agent placer.
Thanks for having me.